Ahmed Elnaggar, it's a pleasure to have you here. Now, before we dive into the entrepreneurial seas, I would like to give our audience a glimpse of your journey. So, would you please let us know how did you get started and where does your story origin from?
First of all, thank you very much for having me here. And what can I say? I mean, starting here was very humble start. I started as legal consultant. I worked for a Swiss law firm in the IFC for about 6 years, and I kept my gradual professional growth from 2008 until 2013. And at a certain point, I realized I'm ready. Like it's the time for me to resign and start my own show.
And what was the main motive?
Um,
Like, don't get me wrong, I understand that people like lawyers, whenever they're working in a firm, it's very set and secure. They always have the benefits. They can work for several years and then make partner. And after making partner, they feel, okay, now I'm making a percentage, I'm making good money. What really pushed you towards starting your own?
um, I don't know, but I think it's embedded already in the mentality of every lawyer that somehow he's gonna have his name on the door, you know, or on the wall, whatever you can say it.
Of
But
course.
they must put their name out there because this job, this kind of profession is like that, especially the private practice lawyers. I grew up in a law firm. My dad is a lawyer. My three elder sisters are lawyers. I chose to leave Cairo and start my own career outside because I wanted to have something for me. And after 6 years working for a company, I realized maybe I cannot grow more here, and I wish to have my own practice. So I made the decision because I couldn't grow more because I made partner at the firm before 30, and I had my whole life in front of me, and I realized, okay, I'm partner now in a firm at the age of 29. Uh,
Wow.
should I just stay or should I grow? And I couldn't grow in the firm, so I had to choose to start on my own.
Okay. And what were the main challenges when you started your own?
I don't think there is one challenge that I didn't face. I think everything was a challenge. Um, the right way, I mean, how you start a law firm in general is having clients. It's not necessarily just your expertise. You can be the smartest lawyer and the one who studied the most or know everything, but if you don't have clients, you cannot start. So I think my starting point was to be confident enough that when I resign and start my own company, that some clients would follow, and it happened. Uh, Funny enough, after 10 years, these clients who followed, some of them are still there, and the majority are not because life goes
So
on.
is it more of the relationship that you build with your clients throughout the years that would make them shift with you if you start your own firm later?
Relationships is very important. Yes, it's one part, but trust is the biggest part. This job is mainly on trust, based on trust. I've seen it with my father's practice, and I think I met some of his clients when I was 7 years old, and now I'm 41, and the same clients still consult him because they trust him. And I think the trust I built with my clients throughout the years, and the trust I'm building every day with my clients in general, is what keeps them working with me for many
When
years.
when you talk about trust, you're referring to them trusting that you're going to take care of the legal issue or the case itself to resolve it, or the way you handle the case, or the way you take care of them to secure them in a certain professional way.
You can say both, but maybe the most important aspect of trust is that they trust that you're honest with your opinion, that you're not taking them to court saying that we're going to win this case while it's 50%, telling them that I'm confident that this contract is drafted in a nice way, or I did my best working on this file, the honesty part, when you say I don't know, because that's also very important, and they trust you when you say you don't know. I'm not the right person for this inquiry. I have to get on an expert. I'll get a tax expert. I get an IP expert, someone who handled this case before, and I get some expertise and some insight from them before I give them the advice. I don't think there's any lawyer who can cover everything, and when you have one client, you don't want them to deal with 5 lawyers at the same time. They would come to you, they trust you, even at the different expertise that you don't have. They would like that you deal with the other lawyer to make sure that he's actually doing the right work. That's how it works.
True. Now, a very big problem that I've personally faced, and I think every entrepreneur in the UAE has faced, is that we never received proper guidance on how important or how vital it is to have proper legal foundation for any startup or any business. Now, I understand that you're working in the corporate realm, so how does that work out, and what is the importance of setting a strong foundation and structure to any startup in the UAE?
Well, one of the really big mistakes that we see in the market, that a lot of entrepreneurs, they establish a company on their own without asking the legal questions before they start. There are a few aspects that all entrepreneurs have to make sure they understand very well and they know before they start. Whether the company that they are starting having the correct information, is this legal structure is the right one, is the objectives or the activity of the company fits the business model. Sometimes entrepreneurs assume they understand the legal part just by logic, applying the logic of it. While I understand as well that entrepreneurs are very careful allocating the funds, and they see that legal advice or seeking legal professional to tell them where to go and what to do in the beginning can be a bit expensive. But honestly, try seeing how much it costs to establish a company and use it, and realize after 1 year this is the wrong license because we just got a fine from the government. Exactly. Because we're working out of scope. Or starting up a management consultancy license to do a fintech project. You know, it's the consequences of a small glitch or a small mistake done by the entrepreneur because they just saved $1 or $2 to take the proper legal advice can be really grave. One other aspect is that a lot of entrepreneurs get in business with their friends or with their family. So they are loving each other, they are having a happy moment, they feel creative and they come up with an idea. And later on they say, no, we're friends. We know each other for many years, or exactly. we're never going to fight, and we're never going to have a conflict, or we're going to sleep over it and discuss and so on. Maybe what I'm saying and what you're expecting from me is not exactly the same thing as my understanding. So clearing this between partners in a written contract is very important, and it helps a lot because communication in the end between entrepreneurs or between partners happens not in the legal language or not in the official language. I can say, I got you. I cover this part. Yes. But what does it mean?
It's never written.
It's never written. When you write it down, it's all clear. When you have a shareholders agreement, when you have an investment agreement written, when you work with no promises, because sometimes it's clear because I told you I will pay for this, but it's not written down. And after a few weeks, I change my mind and I say, sorry, I didn't sign this. What protects you? Because you have taken some action based on my promise. So these very, very simple things entrepreneurs have to understand. Do not get into business without understanding the legal consequences of what you sign, what you agree on, or what you promise.
I'm getting goosebumps hearing this, honestly, because I have personally gone through something like this. So basically, your advice for any entrepreneur is do not get into business with friends and family unless you actually have a full legal contract with all the obligations of each party written down.
Do not get in business in general, not just with family and friends, unless you understand what are you going for. Because you might be getting in business alone, or you might be getting in business very clear with your partner on everything. And this trust bond is titanium, no problem. But you're not getting the correct advice legally on your relationship with the government. Because the documents are not drafted in the right way. You don't understand your obligations and what do you have to declare and what do you have to submit on annual basis and what do you have to submit on quarterly basis to the government. These important things, just ask in the beginning, make it clear for yourself, and then go ahead doing business. And it's good. I mean, we live in an era that legal advice is not that expensive.
True.
And there's so many ways to get professional legal advice. Of course, you have the search engines that you refer to, you have ChatGPT and all the AI solutions that you can ask and get some questions. Some of them are actually legal specialized as well to give you information, but this is not enough. Consulting a legal professional before you go ahead is very important because the legal language is not your language. It's his language.
So AI is not taking over that legal profession yet.
No.
Not yet.
No. It can help a lot. It can save. It's like nice tool for lawyers and for entrepreneurs to understand, to have an idea. But when you get to do a decision, you have to consult a legal professional. It's just like a lawyer. You go to a doctor.
Okay.
Just like a doctor, when you go to Google to ask, I have these symptoms.
Yes.
What should I do? You're not gonna go treat yourself. You're not gonna go get the pharmacy to the pharmacy and get the medicine from shelf and treat yourself. True. You need a professional, a physician. So it's just like medicine.
True. 100%.
Don't take it without consultation.
Okay, in what ways can a business in the UAE face legal consequences if they lack awareness of basic regulatory requirements and fail to comply with them?
In many ways. I gave an example a few minutes ago about the working out of scope. A lot of entrepreneurs, when you ask them, what's your license? Trading in XYZ. Have you actually go to the classification of the economic development sheet, read what are the items that you are allowed to trade in based on your activity? 99% they haven't done that. They did not. And some of them will say, management consultancy, I can advise on anything. Of course not. Just read what exactly means a management consultancy license or a business consultancy license or an investment consultancy license. Each one of them is completely different than the other. And you find a lot of people just mixing all of them together and say, no, I have this management consultancy license. I can advise on financial products. Wow. You can get a huge fine and you get banned from doing business in the UAE.
Oh, wow.
Just because you're working out of scope.
And these consequences will come or would arise from the government, or they would arise from a competitor or via a complaint?
No, it usually comes from the banks. When they see transactions, the first line of defense with compliance basically is the banking. When the banks see transactions on your bank account that makes no sense comparing to when they see the activity of the trade license, they will raise a red flag, and the compliance department is going to come to you and say, can you please explain why an accounting company just got a transfer of 4 million dirham from one client? It makes no sense.
And then they will start suspecting money laundering, which the entire country is doing right now.
Basically, because the banks are the first line of defense, these transactions or whatever transaction has gone out of scope comparing to the business license will be flagged. And if the bank realize that there might be a suspicious transaction that it can be interpreted as money laundering or as any financial crime, they immediately are going to report it to Ministry of Finance and to the Executive Office for Anti-Money Laundering. The UAE is very, very, very careful.
And what
when it
actions?
comes to this.
What actions can they take?
Huge fines.
Fines.
In some cases, if it's proven that someone is doing money laundering or any act of funding of terrorism organization or something like this, they can get into imprisonment. It is a serious matter. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs come to me and say, hey, I have this deal that I receive $10 million from a client who I just know through 2 emails, and I'm supposed to buy properties on their name, but first I will receive the money, I'll buy the properties, I'll put it under my name, and then I sell it to them. And they feel that this is okay. They feel that this is normal when it comes to the way of doing business, and this is just an opportunity, and someone is offering them a huge chunk of money just to help them do this. This is pure money laundering, and entrepreneurs have to understand and be educated about what is a financial crime, what is money laundering, what is terrorism financing, and they have to understand that they have as well the obligation to report it. And if they are involved blindly and acting as if they don't know, and they say that would be my argument, if something goes wrong, I'm going to say that I don't know. It's like, sorry, that's not how things work. You have to be very careful. You have to educate yourself because you're in the business, and every day there are someone who's going to come up and try to exploit your business and exploit the system to use it. And the first line of defense, of course, are the businessmen, the entrepreneurs. They have to be aware what's going on, and they have to report such things. Let me say about one more thing that might be very interesting for a lot of the entrepreneurs. Some activities or some certain businesses, they have some obligations towards the government for reporting. And they have some obligations regarding declarations that they have to do. There is ultimate beneficial owner declarations. This for all companies in the UAE. There are economic substance declarations, and there are VAT declarations for the taxation, corporate tax. So all these declarations, the entrepreneurs have to be aware of and have to understand. And if they don't, they have to seek experts' help to be able to advise them and guide them. Many entrepreneurs, they come to me and say, no, we will never do in the first year or the second year this sum of profit, and we understand that if we don't reach the threshold, we're not going to be taxable, so I'm not going to report, which is completely wrong.
Really?
Of course.
So even if you're doing below 100,000 per quarter, you still need to report whatever income you're making.
Everybody have to register for the corporate tax system. Everybody have to declare. If it come to the point that they are realized because of the business activity or because not reaching the threshold, that they are not taxed or they fall below the tax bracket, they will not be charged taxes, and the government will apply the law. But everybody have to register, and everybody have to make sure.
I personally didn't know that. I thought if you're not reaching that amount, so you don't need to do it.
Good. I'm going to give you the number of our tax expert, to give you the advice.
Please, definitely.
Yeah.
But see, this is one of the main issues that I'm personally facing, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other entrepreneurs out there that are facing the exact same issue. How are we living in a place where there's awareness regarding such topics? Because there's a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of businesses that are starting and that are operating and generating lower than $100,000 per quarter, for example. But based on what they know, you don't have to register for tax as long as you're not making over that sum. So it's okay. You don't need to worry about it. Just carry on. And there's nobody that's giving out any sort of awareness. Like, no, you have to. The banks are not sending out anything. Department of Economic Development is not putting out any regulations or sending an email with this is the deadline you need to submit. We're not receiving any sort of information to let us know. Now, how would we find out?
I have to respond to that in a way that many cases we see and many entrepreneurs, they update their information without reflecting it to the trade license. So I've seen 90% of the trade licenses I saw where the company have changed their email address or changed their telephone number, and that's why they are not receiving the notifications that's happening from the government. So the government is sending notifications and notices for every single declaration and every single obligation for every company. Even free zone authorities are doing the same thing. But if the entrepreneur or the business owner is not actively checking these email IDs or actively acting upon them and reading them or interpreting them in a way just to protect themselves, it's like, no, it doesn't apply to me, and not consulting a professional about it, then the problems happen. But in reality, all the notification happen from all the free zone and all the government offices. That's one thing. The other thing is that the manager of each company, the business owner, have the obligations to follow the law. So not knowing what's going on is not an excuse.
It's your ignorance, basically.
You have to know. You're in the business. You have to talk to a professional. You have to have an audited report, or you have to have an accounting books in place. You have to do all your declaration. This is the obligation of the manager. And by the way, there are obligations to the manager of the company towards the shareholders.
Yes.
So in many cases, there's one who's managing the company, and there are a set of investors or shareholders in the company. If the manager is not doing his work or her work in the right way and missing the deadlines and not doing the declarations, the shareholders have the right to
terminate.
Not just terminate, I mean to ask as well for the consequences, because these will translate into fines.
Even if the manager is a partner.
Even if the manager is not a partner, he has legal obligation to do these declarations and to be aware of it. So, a couple of thousand dirhams as a legal consultancy can save you hundreds of thousands of dirhams down the line, and can actually save your business, because you can get easy to the stage where if you are not declaring and if you're getting the fine and not able to do to pay the fine, or not able to follow the law, the government has the right to revoke the license of the whatever entrepreneur or business who's not abiding by the law. It is serious.
100%. So Ahmed, honestly, in your experience, based on what you have gone through, what are the biggest barriers to raising awareness about important issues in the UAE?
I might say the cost of the legal advice. That might seem like the barrier, but the real barrier is the will of the businessman and the entrepreneur to do everything right.
And why aren't law firms coming up with some sort of a affordable startup packages to help entrepreneurs?
In fact, there are, because also law firms have the small law firm of one or two practitioners, and have like the big law firms with 200 lawyers in place, and based on the overhead and the size of the firm, the fees also translate. So it is the will, it is the entrepreneur, or the businessman or the business owner. They need to make the decision. This is the only barrier. I don't think the cost is an element, or let's say, I don't think the cost is a real element. I think it's a fear element, that everybody is afraid to go to a lawyer to be charged so much per hour and so on. But in reality, you can just make yourself clear. I have 10 questions, and I want you to give me advice of what I'm missing. This is how you approach a lawyer, to be able to understand, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, and these questions are my concerns. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? And pay for it. Of course, choose your lawyer very well, and choose the practitioner who is an expert in the field. A lot of lawyers now are on social media making podcasts, as I'm making their social media accounts just for free advice. Follow these guys. A lot of lawyers are writing articles that is accessible online for free. Read these articles. Go to take a legal consultation session with one of these lawyers and ask the right questions. Ask the lawyer, what else do I need to do to make sure that I'm doing business in the right way? Just entrepreneurs have to put the effort in order to protect themselves. Other barriers I might say is I don't know, too much enthusiasm. The entrepreneurs feel like I'm too smart to fall into mistakes. I think this should be controlled as well, because no one is an expert in every single field. Even lawyers who are 10, 20 years of experience, there are other legal fields that they are not experts in, and we still seek help and advice from our colleagues regarding some different areas of the law that we are not practicing. So it's not a real barrier. I think it's a decision.
True. Okay, engaging in advocacy can involve challenging and emotional situations. How do you manage the emotional impact of addressing difficult issues and striving for positive outcomes?
I think some days are easier than others, and some days are harder than others, because sometimes we have also stressful days with deadlines. I personally don't do litigation. I'm working on advisory. Mm-hmm. Some of the transactions work that we work on, it involves in 2 or 3 countries, with documents coming up from even more countries, and shareholders who are residing in even 10 or 20 countries at the same time. And just managing all this will involve a lot of stress. And when you promise beyond what you can do, mm-hmm. Or when you get a lot of pressure from the client to meet the deadline and make sure that certain contracts can cover every single scenario, which is very difficult in some cases. These can be stressful days, but managing them, you just have to, I don't know, meditate. You have to cool down. You have to have a certain life outside of the office. Exactly. You can have some hobbies. You read. You do other things.
But
than just work.
You do agree that it is a very, very, very stressful job.
Absolutely. And I'm not even doing litigation. And I feel for the litigation lawyers who goes to court and they're involved in court verdicts every day, because it's a very stressful job to manage the expectations of clients. Every client comes with a different emotional baggage, and if they are first time in litigation, it's going to be a psychology work, not just legal work, because mm-hmm. we have to manage the emotions of the client, and exactly. We have to educate the client what happens in court as well, and we have to tell them this is what you expect. You don't have to expect a legal update every single day. Mm-hmm. All of these things can be very heavy on the lawyer, but it gets easier by experience. Okay, I remember that my very first years in the field, I used to get so stressed, but with experience it gets easier.
Okay, so you just let it go. It's fine. I can handle it. I know it's the worst that can happen.
Yes.
And honestly, do you think that over the past, let's say, 10 years, that the law in the UAE has been easier and more simple for business owners and entrepreneurs to start business?
Definitely, yes. Not just for entrepreneurs and doing business. It gets more easy, more convenient every day. The UAE is on a continuous development plan. Since I started my career in the UAE in 2008 until now, I've seen amazing changes and development in the legal sphere. Also in the administration of the economy itself, and how to start up a company and what possible options entrepreneurs have. We've seen a huge shift from the sponsorship and the partnership percentages and for businesses. We've seen growth in many free zones. We've seen new free zones established every day, new possibilities. We've seen changes in the residency aspects. We've seen big changes in the banking. We've seen so much. So
Okay.
much.
I have a personal question, which has personally been a challenge to me. Now, of course, we're aware that Saudi Arabia is expanding big time.
Yes.
And they're pumping in a lot of money and a lot of investments into all the sectors and all the industries. However, when it comes to setting for them to fund or invest in any startup that's within the UAE, they have a rule that you must move your headquarters to Saudi Arabia in order for you to get an investment from us.
Well, it's not by law, and as far as I understand, and as far as I know it, I
Please
don't
tell us.
practice in Saudi, so I'm not there. There is a certain rule regarding the headquarters moving to Saudi, but it's not something that is directed to the UAE company or UAE-based company. Again, what I did read in the news, that the companies that is doing business on a specific scale with specific entities in Saudi, they must have their headquarters in the kingdom for specific reasons. But this is not for the investments. So still the Saudi investments are happening and reaching out to the UAE. There's absolutely no problem in that. I'm aware of it and I see it. If certain investors are trying to attract the entrepreneurs or the tech startups or startups in general to be in Saudi, that's, I think it's an investment decision from a special family office or a special investment company in Saudi to attract the entrepreneurs to come and relocate. And I think it is a brilliant idea. Bravo. It's a great business for Saudi. And I think from a UAE perspective, we are extremely happy and elevated with whatever happening in Saudi, because the benefit of any growth in the business that happens in Saudi will translate to the UAE. Yeah. It translates to Bahrain, it translates to Kuwait, to Qatar, to Egypt, to Lebanon, to all the Middle East in general. Saudi is one of the biggest markets in the Middle East, and them getting into a better shape when it comes to opening up for investors, opening up for the residency rules, making it a tourist destination, it just benefits the UAE. I don't see a competition. I don't see it that will reduce or take part from the investments that comes to the UAE or UAE. These two countries are completely different. They are in harmony, and I believe if someone is seeking from the US or Latin America or Europe who is seeking business in the Middle East, I don't think they would say, I'm going to choose between Saudi and United Arab Emirates or Egypt or Qatar. Each one of them has its own flavor. Each one of them has its own market. Each one of them has its own benefit. So whoever want to come to the UAE will come here. Whoever want to expand in the Middle East will have a plan to spread all over the Middle East. They will not choose one over the other.
Because I have seen it recently with personal friends and business owners that they would start shutting down their operations in the UAE to move to Saudi Arabia and relocate their business and relocate their life over there. Of course, Saudi Arabia has been trying to expand the population. Now, given the fact that they're a population of 30 million people, and recently with their new residency law and giving access for getting the nationality to the women who marry Saudi men, or men who marry Saudi women, or children who are born within the Saudi kingdom and live there for more than 15 years, giving them residency and the nationality. Basically, they're trying to expand the kingdom, and they're trying to raise the population towards 100 million over the course of the next 15 years. So that's understandable that they're trying to grow their economy and they're trying to grow the country as a whole. But do you think that they're also starting to take business away from everyone in the region, because they're limiting that if anybody wants to grow with us, you need to come here.
Absolutely not. I see it as an opportunity for entrepreneurs and investors to have one more big, huge, giant hub in the region who is welcoming and opening the doors for new possibilities. If you, I think it would be a unique case when I see some entrepreneurs shutting business or stopping doing business here and moving completely to Saudi, or to choose to be there over being anywhere else in the Middle East. I see it just as an opportunity to expand in the region. Again, UAE is so unique and is so different from Egypt, Saudi, Qatar, Bahrain, Jordan, Lebanon, all of these. And the opportunities you have here are, they have no similarity than the opportunities you have in Saudi. It's a completely different atmosphere, different demographics, different population, different mainstream language. It's a different market. Again, I see it as an opportunity, not a way that one market is going to take business from the other. I've seen personally, let's say, I'll talk about my business. I've seen law firms hiring in Saudi, but I've not seen one who is closing down in Dubai or moving their head office to Saudi. I've seen auditing firms, accounting firms. I've seen social media management companies, marketing companies opening up in Saudi. I've seen business councils from the UAE going and making missions to travel to Saudi to do business and come back. I think this is building one more bridge. There were so many bridges already between the UAE and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia before, but we're building one more bridge of exchange of professionals, because the professionals who are very experienced and knowledgeable about Saudi today are very well needed here, because our clients and the businesses that are happening in the UAE, they all have an eye there. So we need these guys, we need the information that comes from them, and I see more opportunities. I don't see a shift.
Wow, thank you for that. Okay, Ahmed. Now, aside from that, I would like to ask you, how did you put together Elnaggar and Partners? How did you launch it? How did you put the team together? What were the first steps? Just give me like a brief glimpse of how you put everything together.
All right, that's a long journey. I mean, it's great that you are asking me this question, because this year we are exactly 10 years in the UAE. I remember I've started very humbly in a very, very small office in the Swiss Tower in Jumeirah Lakes Towers with a management consultancy license. I did not even have a legal license at that moment. I used to just work with the corporate structure, so we establishing companies and so on. And this was my first step, and it was in 2014. It was me and my business partner, Leonardo, and was my secretary, Klanda. So it was 3 people sitting in one office. Our desks are attached to each other. We had 10 clients, and that's how we started. Today we are almost 25 people in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, and in Cairo. I've been mentored very well by amazing professionals. One of them, and the first one, was my dad, and he gave me a lot of insight and a lot of advice throughout the years. Another mentor was the managing partner of the firm which I resigned from, and he's actually a very good friend of mine, and we are still in communication and doing a lot of projects until now together. Nice. Even after he sold his firm in 2020. So he's the CEO of the Swiss Academy right now, which I'm very active with them as well. So putting together people who are relevant to your journey was my foundation. So I got the advice from my mentors, and got the advice from my business partner as well, who is a brilliant economist and financial savvy professional. And I just worked so hard. I'll tell you, and I just worked endless amount of hours. I worked during my holidays. I worked during my
That's what it takes.
vacations, during my flights. I think I was working during my sleep. I didn't know about it, but I never stopped working because I loved it. And I love it even more now.
Okay. Well, recently I've been hearing rumors that you're starting your own union. Could you please tell us more about that?
It started as a very humble start. It was a WhatsApp group with a bunch of legal professionals who want to update each other, ask each other questions every now and then. So we were started like, I don't know, 40 or 50 people. It's not my idea. It was already happening. There was another WhatsApp group which was very active, and it had like, I don't know, 90 or almost 100 lawyers on it. And for a certain reason, they decided they're going to shut down, and I didn't like to lose the opportunity of this, so I decided to continue. And I established this WhatsApp group, but then I started putting rules, and I started reminding the people of the rules, and then I started monitoring who are the lawyers on the group, verify each one of them to make sure that we are actually getting advice from peers instead of having people who are not legal professionals or people who are not relevant to the conversation. So we made some rules. We made restriction on who will be among us, making sure that it's secure. So everybody have to join with a UAE telephone number. So at least we have a reference. Where are the people coming from? And they are all resident here, all practicing lawyers. And then we started to grow organically until today. We are 540.
540. Wow.
Absolutely. With a very wide spread of professional specialities, people from different nationalities, amazing diversity of languages are spoken. We have from legal students who are studying law in the UAE. We have fresh graduates from all over the world. We have private practice lawyers. We have in-house lawyers. We have people working for the government in legal departments. We have academics who are working for university.
And anybody could join this group.
Any lawyer or legal practitioner, anybody who is working in compliance, in the legal field in general, can apply and can become part of the community. Yes.
And how can they apply?
It's online. We integrated everything on the website. It's emirateslegalnetwork.com, and there you can choose to join, create your profile, put the evidence that you have a legal background, update your details, submit, pay, and you get involved already in the community. You get added into the WhatsApp group, and then you get access to all the webinars, the seminars we're doing, all the legal events we're doing. You get the discounts from the legal for the legal courses. Nice. And the continuous education. You get to network with the lawyers. You can get to do business with other lawyers as well, because there's a lot of exchange of business happening in the association. It's a registered non-profit association, so all the money that comes in from the membership is routed again into the events and the benefits. Last month we were successful to partner with one of the British, also another charity organizations in UK. It's called Grow Mentoring.
Okay.
And what we did with Grow is that we partnered with them to make them open a chapter in the Middle East. It was the first time for them. They mentored around. They were able to pair mentors for about 7,000 people in UK, and they are going to start in the UAE. And with before even the first event, we were able to pair 40 mentors to 40 mentees to give them the assistance and the guidance, how to become a lawyer and how to start your legal career, and so on and so forth. And by launching this event with Grow Mentoring, we are spearheading the legal industry in general, because we can accelerate so much these young lawyers into becoming very valuable and productive professionals in the future.
100%.
Yes.
Okay, so for our viewers, especially those in the early stages of their entrepreneurial journey, what advice would you give regarding learning from failures and setbacks that you personally have gone through?
Make more mistakes. This is the best advice I can tell you. Like, don't be afraid. Just I really appreciate every single mistake I had, and all the failures I had as well. They just made me stronger and made me smarter. So,
But not everybody has the power to face a setback and a failure and to get back again. What was your motive that always motivated you and pushed you?
clear plan, or not clear plan, clear target. It doesn't matter what happens along the way. You're gonna go there. You're gonna reach there. It's a mindset. I've been told by one of the best professionals, best legal minds in the UAE, one day that I should not focus into becoming a lawyer, and I should focus to become a documents clearance professional. He even made it sound nice. He told me you should be a super PRO. So to try to divert yourself from that. I was told during the university days that stop speaking in English because your accent is really bad, and you should just focus on the Arabic side because your Arabic is very good. I really appreciate these two people because and I remember them very well, and I feel like, wow, thank you so much for these comments, because these moments I realized I'm doing something wrong. I gave a wrong perspective, a wrong impression to these guys, while I respect them so much. So I will not take the negative part of it. I will just take the positive part. And my plan was to become a lawyer. My plan was to become a good lawyer, to have a good, successful law firm and legal career. And that's where I am. So it's really a mindset. Put your mindset in the right place. Be persistent. Don't let failures stop you.
Wow, I'll personally take that. I'll personally take that to heart. Okay, now entrepreneurship always involves risk taking. Give me one risk that you have taken and it resulted in unexpected rewards or growth.
What?
Just one.
One of the best decisions I've ever made was to resign and to start up my company. And I did resign when my daughter was less than 3 years old, and I was a new father who's trying to learn what's going on in this, trying to balance my work and my life and being a new father and so on. It was a big risk.
Wasn't it challenging leaving a steady income that supports your lifestyle to start something that you don't know what kind of income you're going to make already?
I was very comfortable financially with my job. When I resigned, I was already making very good money, and I had everything I wanted.
So that was your motive, that you were financially comfortable and stable. That's why you decided to move on.
Okay, I couldn't grow more. And I'll tell you, I have an idea since I was very young, okay? If you're not growing, you're actually falling. Let's take it as a graph, okay? If you're stable, your graph is like this. But everybody else is doing this. So you're actually falling down. That's how it works. You have to always grow. If you're spending 1 or 2 months without one step further, you're actually falling. You're not steady.
100%.
No one goes like this, because the whole world is going up. Everybody is growing. Growth is the biggest and most important word in business and in professions. If you're not learning, if you're not having a significant success every year, if you're not having a significant learning experience every year, if you're not reading a book, if you're not watching a good podcast, if you're not getting mentored, if you're not making mistakes and learning from them, you're not growing. And Not growing means you're falling down. At a certain point of time, you're gonna realize that you're here and everybody else is there.
True. I really feel that. I really feel that. All right, Ahmed, thank you so much for being on the Entrepreneur Show. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll meet again in the future.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks.